Greetings everybody, welcome back to my channel again here, and I have quite a special iPod right here. Yes, it's an iPod Touch 4th generation. Disclaimer, it is actually not running iOS 4, it is running iOS 5, which I'll talk about in a sec, but it is cracked, and what makes it special is this is actually my first ever iOS device. Not this exact one. The one I actually had was obviously destroyed and recycled years ago. But my first ever Apple device was basically this right here, an iPod Touch 4th generation. 8GB black on iOS 5 that I got basically for Christmas 2011. And I remember, like, I was so impatient to get one of these, and I wasn't quite sure if I was actually going to get one or not, but I actually did. And I was so happy. You could install apps and everything on it, and it was really cool. And to basically have an iPhone without the phone, since obviously I wasn't old enough to have an iPhone at the time, and at the time iPhones, I think the 4 and the 4S, were really expensive because they were on strict contracts at the time, 2-year contract, and you had to pay an insane amount of money down. And these iPod Touches were not cheap either. I think they started at $229, I think, for an 8GB. So you couldn't even get 16 gigs for $200, which is crazy. But my first ever device, very similar to this one. It probably started on 5.0.1 or 5.1, the one I actually had. But there we go, because actually, just got this today. I got it super cheap off eBay. Yes, it is cracked. It's got a screen protector on it, and it's got the Apple sticker. So really cool. I love playing around with these older devices. They're always welcome in my collection. And yeah, so that means I have 2 on iOS 4 now. I got one on 4.1 and I got one on 4.3.2. I got a white one and a black one on 5.1.1 now, and then I just have a black one on iOS 6.1.6. I might try to find a white 16 gig on iOS 6. I'm sure they're very easy to find for very cheap, and maybe I'll get one of those too for my collection. To say I have 2 on each version that the iPod Touch 4 came. 2 on iOS 4. It was only black at the time. White didn't come until like mid 2011, I think. And then 2 on iOS 5, and then 2 on iOS 6. So that'd be really cool. But there you go. So I have, I think, 5 iPod Touch 4th generations now. And yeah, just a really cool thing to have. I mean, 5.1.1 on the 4th generation iPod Touch was arguably probably the best version for this iPod. It was super fast. You still had YouTube at the time. It obviously doesn't work anymore, but you actually had YouTube at the time. And it was updatable to 6.1.6. Let me see if the camera works on this. That's right, photo stream is going to be discontinued. Hi. Steering later. But basically, anything you can do on this iPod Touch 4th gen on iOS 5, you can basically do. I don't have it turned on right now, but an iPad free running iOS 5. And just really cool. I mean, and I got this for super cheap. I think about $15, but like $21 after tax and shipping. But it is cracked. It does have a mark on the screen there too, just a little bit. Got a screen protector on it too. I don't know how to get a screen protector because it's cracked, but but hey, I'd rather have a cracked one on iOS 5 than a not cracked one on iOS 6. So we'll take it. I might actually sync music on this. I might use it as my main music player. We'll see. I say that for a lot of iPhones and iPods on older, rare versions of iOS. But as I said, this is my first ever iOS device, so it's kind of special. First ever iOS I've ever used. So, but yeah, besides other times that my dad let me use his iPhone or iPad, so before that, but that was very few times. But yeah, so really cool. I might download music on it and use it like at the gym or something. We'll see. Of course, people will probably be questioning. It's like, oh man, that device is so old. I've gotten that in the past too with other iPhones and iPods I've taken out in public before. That I've used. But yeah, so basically, I think that is it for this video. And peace out, everybody.